Formula 1 returns to Italy for the 8th round of the 2020 season, the Temple of Speed here at Monza. And much like any other season, this track is all about the efficiency and power from the engines. However, some of the lower and back market teams will be running much lower drag than the cars at the front, so anyone as ever could still be in the mix here for a good result. Toyota though were understandably the early favourites, as the raw engine power of their cars has been unmatched all season so far, and was also unmatched for much of last year, with Hamilton expecting an easy win in the race. Mercedes though expect there could be an outside shot for a podium or better, as the car overall isn't working too well so far this year. They've definitely got more than enough power from that AMG engine to cause an upset to the front runners. There's much the same at Ferrari as well. The home favourites spent much of the season so far in the mid-table, but early runs indicate good pace, and there could be a threat to the front runners. Hey guys, Renault here. Welcome back to Formula 1. This time for the Italian Grand Prix, and just for a sec, I know everything's kind of grey right now. I don't know why that happened on the video, but it's only just for this cutscene. When he gets back onto the race, things go back to how they should be. So yeah, we're not racing in the fog, that's definitely not happening. Although that would be an interesting race. So here we have Sergio Perez, P6, a brilliant qualifying there for the Mexican, using that AMG power to his advantage. Could he go even higher in the race? And then coming onto the formation lap, you can get a first look here at the starting grid. And it's Hamilton who takes the pole position and the 3 points that go with it. The 2 points for K-Mag in the Alfa Romeo in second, and a point to Hulkenberg in the Renault in third. Matsushita starts fourth in the second of the Toyotas, with Daniel Kvyat starting fifth in the Merc, ahead as we saw of Perez in P6. Turo only qualified in seventh, was expecting better with the straight line speed of his Alfa Romeo, with the two Ferraris of Leclerc and Vettel 8th and 9th, with Mick Schumacher running off the top 10 in the Williams Honda. George Russell starts from 11th in the second of the Mercs, and then of the lead McLaren of Lando Norris, with Stroll 13th in the second Aston Martin, and then of Jean-Eric Vergne only in 14th place, and then Verstappen down in P15 in the Red Bull. Ariento starts from 16th in the McLaren, and then of Albers in 17th, Latifi down in 18th, Pierre Gasly 19th, and the other AlphaTauri is Sergio Sotocamara, bringing up the grid for the Italian Grand Prix. Now then, looking back onto ourselves, starting then from P7, the Aston Martin of Sergio Perez is absolutely mighty, the fastest car through the speed traps in the Q3, so you'll see how that translates into race pace. Maybe they've gone for glory in qualifying, that's not in the race, but now coming to the 5 red lights for the start of the Italian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. It's a bit of a pull start there from our teammate, but Mick Schumacher got a lightning start there, trying to get side by side, going to the 3-4 wide back there in the pack of cars, and now we can sell side one of the McLaren's. We've got the Ferrari side by side. We squeeze out into the grass, trying to dive around the outside line of both of the Ferraris there. And the outside line which turns to the inside, but the outside line is the racing line here out of turn 2. Now trying to get a power down, can try and box in the Renault or Johnny Van, so make sure the Frenchman doesn't make a movement. So now side by side still with the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, going to go in the outside line through Curve Grande, trying to make the move that Vettel did on Alonso back in 2011. We'd have to slot back in there behind our fellow Ferrari powered car for now. He goes very defensive though into the second chicane, so nothing there. We need to try and make a move on him. We're down now into P9, so once again, not making the best start in the world. We've got Jean Van looking very interested on the back of us, because you know it takes the Alfa Romeo car a few laps just to get the tyre temperature more than anyone else. So usually that is also usually what happens in qualifying, because basically you have to get tyres up temperature in 1 lap. It usually takes 2 or 3 racing laps, not going slow on the out lap, trying to protect the tyres. We've got a whole load of battling there going in front of cars, jostling for position. Already got a little bit of a break though going up in front. Look at the mini-map, you got Hamilton and K-Mag. There's already off into this end, you've got Matsushita, looks like they're up into P3 ahead of Hulkenberg. Those two will be getting back now for Dennis back straight. Everyone's going to be back down the back straight. You come to the highest speeds here in the modern season. I mean, the outright record was about 230 mile an hour from a couple of years ago at Mexico, where the air is a lot thinner. There's a race in Mexico this year. This is going to be where the high speeds come from. Hulkenberg gets back ahead of Matsushita, but Matsushita with a straight line speed going to come straight back at Hulkenberg now on the run down into someone, because no DRS here. Only have to for another couple of laps. It's going to be a pure engine power. I think one of the Mercedes there looking dicey behind the back there. Mick Schumacher, the lead Honda powered car for this race. The Williams definitely looking a lot better here than what it did last year, with a lot more power than what it had from the BMW engines at this point last season. Now then, the German going side by side with the Russian now. The defending world champion going side by side with someone who feels he should already be a 2 or 3 time world champion in Formula 1. Nicky Rosberg can try and move around the outside line. Schumacher though still not giving up. We've got Sergio Perez there still in the mix as well, just behind. Kvyat there makes the move stick on Mick Schumacher, defending world champion, and Sergio Perez is trailing on speed, looking for his advantage once again, but now looking towards the other Aston Martin now then, of Lawrence Stroll further down in the pack. Looking now up the inside line here. You've got Latifi in the other Williams trying to make it, so the Canadians going at it once again, all for home pride. It's Latifi then that makes the move stick on Stroll. As these two both had very different seasons so far. Latifi, the rookie in Formula 1, Stroll's been here for a few seasons now. You have to go back around the outside line of the Williams, back into parabolic. Higher red, that's on if you a brilliant move, you can make it stick. This is where Stroll unfortunately had a bit of a crash here with Alex Rossi in 2016, in what was only his second race in Formula 1. He's definitely come a long way since then, back in when he was in the Manor. And still back in the station now once again, and now with DRS trying to make a move, and then we've got us, and now in the Alfa Romeo coming in, finally got turns out to temperature, good 3 wide out into turn 1 with the two Canadians and Latifi in the middle. You've got Stroll there on the outside line, and they're breaking now into turn 1, trying to outbreak both of them into making stick. Latifi tries to outbreak us, we see more in his fight with Lance Stroll, managed to block off there Stroll. Now we've got Latifi still side by side with us, now we're getting Renault Vernon coming into the mix, how slow we're going, we just managed to get the run out of the corner, bad traction there, then the Williams. Now we've got Vernon side by side now with Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, and trying to make this see, but the Aston's so quick and straight line with its AMG power, but Verne with the better car overall, and the Renault making sticks there through the corner. Sure, they're getting a bit of a poor run, but still has to get a little bit defensive there. Does Jean-Luc Verne try and keep ahead there of the Canadian, which he just manages to make the move stick. Now then, on to lap 6. We've now got Mick Schumacher up behind us, and we've got Hulkenberg there as the car in front, so these two still battling away for pretty much most of this stint so far. And you've got more battling there going up front with one of the Mercedes that going at it now with Matsushita. Hulkenberg really just think Hulkenberg's just holding back at this point. Kvyat's on an absolute mad push. I think they just want to stay out that fight for now. And now with of course with them slowing each other, it's going to get Hulkenberg back onto that cube car now, and they come now into Parabolica. It will be now the 6th time in this race. We'll make their way around now onto the pit straight once again. It will be a mega run here for some of these cars. And now you've got Kvyat going to get a solution, but now we're going to have a double solution now. You can try and make a move on Daniel Kvyat. Both of them got DRS though from the back, and Matsushita on each other. Now Hulkenberg can try and make the move stick on Daniel Kvyat coming down into turn 1. Matsushita wisely has to go defensive there to cover off from Hulkenberg, otherwise the German would have been through. Now Kvyat still keeping it side by side there with the Renault driver. Now the corner is still going side by side now. Hulkenberg inside line against the traction, makes the move stick there on Daniel Kvyat. And we're the back of it now because we know the DAS system just give a little bit of straight line speed when the angle of the tyres will go so close to the back of the Kvyat, going for a dive on the inside line. Kvyat squeezing us though. We just keep side by side. We have to basically hop over the curb because otherwise we just basically T-bone Kvyat going so defensive. I mean, he scored a podium back at Canada, which was another high speed track. And ever since then, the Merc really has been kind of nowhere. The DAS system still, in its second season, still not really working out as expected for the Mercedes guys. Of course, coming in next year, the DAS system will once again still be legal, so they've got another year to try and make it work. As you've got moves up in front, you've got Hulk trying to go on the inside then of Matsushita. Matsushita trying to run the outside line, he's going to get squeezed to the curb though. And with the racing line, the better line, Hulk makes the move back up now into P3. Once again, Matsushita with that straight line speed, he's going to come straight back at him immediately. And try to get around the outside lane to Parabolic and try and make the move that Stroll did earlier on to Latifi side by side, but Hulk's up a lot further up the inside. A bit of a lock up though, almost contact between the two. As we go for a dive there on the inside line of Daniel Kvyat. We're going to get a little bit of a frame rate drop there, but that was actually part of the video, I hope at least. And now then we get the remove, but now we've got Kvyat coming back at us there once again. He hasn't even got DRS, he just got so much more speed off the final corner than what we did. He's trying to get back in the outside line onto turn 1, but must have that Merc engine, the AMG branded Merc engine turned up to 11 and try and keep it side by side with us with DRS and the Fry power, which is currently the second best on the grid to that Toyota engine. And Hulk once again in the slipstream. The Renault engine also not looking too shabby this year so far. And further on looking back towards the mid pack, we've got the Fries now embroidered in battle now. We've got Latifi and Shaw once again. These two, the Canadians still just can't leave each other alone. This entire race have been somewhere together. Now then Shaw goes for a dive on the inside line of Sebastian Vettel. This is where Vettel won his first race for Toro Rosso back in 2008, so he definitely knows his way around this track, although there was a lot of different conditions and a lot different car to what he was in then compared to what he's in now. Now Vettel is just going to put himself back in front of it, but now you've got one of the McLarens there in the mix. I think of Lando Norris, but Stroll with that speed once again. We're going to go 3 wide now on the run, down into turn 1. We've got Vettel sandwich in the middle, and they've got Harry to try and go in the outside line of both of them. They keep it 3 wide there through turn 1 out turn 2. This is not going to end well for someone, and some other mention making it all stick all the way through there. There's no way, they're still 3 wide. They're still 3 wide now out of the corner. Stroll just finds his way on the inside line, and Vettel just squeezing out to the cone. That could have been a nasty accident there for Stroll. They're still keeping it through side by side. Nerves to steal from the Canadian. He's still keeping his side by side there with the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel. They got one of the Red Bulls there can bring themselves into the mix. They've been pretty much nowhere this weekend. The car is proving to be too draggy, even on the minimal wins which everyone will be running here at this circuit, and maybe even at Spa later in the season. The Vettel though loses out to the Canadian Lawrence Stroll. Of course, he's only a top 12 points race, so these positions all matter here. But now Vettel then with the DRS once again to try and come back. At Lawrence Stroll, they've got the Red Bull of Verstappen there looking eager as well. And Verstappen, he may not have the car speed, but Verstappen definitely has the speed. But the problem is here for Red Bull, there's not really that many corners to make the most of any speed. And you've got Harry once again just keeping in the station right behind. And you've got Latifi in the mix there as well. Going to get close once again. You can try and make a move of the inside lane. Trying to make a move on the inside line of Harriento into the corner. Into Parabolica. Can keep it side by side there on the inside line. Latifi just proving to be the human highlight reel so far this year. Well, he's putting on a great show in his rookie season. He makes the move still there on the McLaren. He's going to do it to try and gain on his fellow Honda powered car. So there's going to be no advantage here between these two cars really. In terms of engine power, it's going to be about the pure straight line speed of them. Into the corner though. Not quite close for there to make a move, but Latifi though really is putting on a mega show and really is advertising himself as a potential better driver in the future. Now on to lap 10. We're now ahead of Daniel Kvyat still as we saw. Kvyat trying to come back to now. We're trying to go around the outside line here into Parabolica. We just managed to outbrake the Russian though. We're trying to stick around this limit. Things better of it. Stuck's back in line. Kvyat though looking extremely racy. I mean, it's the first time since the first Grand Prix we've seen Daniel Kvyat be this racy so far. On to lap 11 now. We've got DRS once again from the back of Matsushita. Finds himself once again behind Hulkenberg. We've got Kvyat there with some mega straight line speed. Trying to make a dive here at the inside line, going into the break. So you can try and make the mistake. He outbrakes us cleanly. Kvyat there. So Kvyat is on a mission in this race. And if you can just break away, honestly I feel like Kvyat's the fastest car on the circuit in terms of outright pace right now. Because Hamilton out front isn't going to be pushing all too much. K-Mag in second isn't going to be pushing all too much either. Got Kvyat trying to make a massive shooting check. Matsushita just parked the car perfectly there, just to give Kvyat just a reason to back out there. I mean, there was a car width of space, but no more there. So that most likely would have ended Kvyat being in the grass and then off into the escape road. Kvyat though, Mercedes absolutely need these points, so Kvyat is definitely on for a top 5 as things stand, maybe even the podium place. But Mercedes more than ever need the points here in their championship battle with Red Bull, Honda, the unpowered Williams car, and of course Ferrari as well. But now up the inside line, Kvyat there with a man possessed in this race. Up the inside line, Matsushita still going to try and keep it around the outside line to keep himself. So Matsushita there is forced to back out there of the corner. Kvyat gets up now into P4 now. Can he chase down once again after Hulkenberg? We've seen earlier on, he definitely seems to be quicker than that Renault. But now we're getting a good run now. Going to pull up the inside line. Matsushita got really slowed down there through Ascari. Now into Parabolica and go for a dive on the inside line. Try to think about it on Kvyat as well. We're just not quite close there to make a move on the Russian driver. Now through the trees, Matsushita gets a better run through Parabolica. But it doesn't matter because he's coming into the pit lane. It's going to be a pit lane battle between all three of us now. There's going to be Mercedes versus Toyota versus Alfa Romeo. And you've got Williams there of Mick Schumacher coming in just behind as well. Now this is going to be for our single stop now of the race. This race being a one stop for everyone. We're going to come now for a set of the medium tyres. We get help there from a few cosmetics. There goes the Matsushita, which isn't really surprising to see who's in front of us in the first place. But we can't quite see where Kvyat though is in this queue. Of course, he's in further back. Or is he in front of us? I don't know. We've got Mick Schumacher though as the car behind us. Looking at the mini map, I think Matsushita's dropped place there too. Down to Kvyat. Now into turn 1, trying to look around the outside lane. Matsushita trying to catch him napping. And I think I definitely see the Merc there in front of this queue. Of course, so Kvyat there with a really good stop. Managed to get in front of Matsushita. At least maintain position. I think there's a head coming into the pit lane anyway. They're coming down into P13, so as it stands, only one place out of the point, so it just shows the pace that us front pack of cars have had in this race so far. They're going to launch it there over the curve, try and get a good run, because that is, if you can get that one right, that is the quickest way through that chicane. Then you do run the risk of getting stuck on the little stub curve that sticks out in the middle, which can launch the car, or maybe even hit it really wrong, break your suspension, because suspension, I mean, it can take a lot of impact, but then you just try and force it over a curve like that, it's not going to be too happy about it. Looking back up front to our teammate Kevin Magnussen. He's going to be coming in now. He's had a bit of a lane race. You see there Hamilton just coming into the pit lane there in front. Then you got the other Renault there, Hulkenberg, who's coming in now. So Hulk's got one lap longer. I mean, these cars right in front, so they decided to leave them for an extra lap because we were the one in the pass. We were the one that needed the early stop here. Really a good stop here though from the Alfa Romeo boys. On to a set of the medium tyres. It was a careful stop from them. I think they've settled for second place here with K-Mag in this race. You've got Hulkenberg though just up behind in third, and the Alfa Romeo though is a faster car, but Hulk's like Kvyat is putting some worldly performances so far. The Renault car is much improved what it was last year. But now the battle just behind Kvyat on the inside line, and Matsushita have to go defensive now from the Japanese driver into turn 1. Matsushita can try to get the long way here around the outside line. We try and squeeze out the Russian, but then Kvyat has the inside line for turn 2. Making it able to put the power down on the grippier line, but Massachusetts with that faster car going to have the engine turned up now, trying to sweep it around the outside line here through Curva Grande. We've got us still right up behind. There's absolutely nowhere here that we can go. We could possibly want to make it 3 wide. We can try and force our way through, going to look for a dive on the inside line just to try and go wherever these cars don't. But we just have to stay behind the two there doing battle. There's no way there through for us to fortunately try and make it stick. But we've got Kvyat still side by side here with Matsushita into the Lesma, so he's trying to go around the outside line here. It's going to be a very ballsy move if he can pull this one off. Still keeping his side by side now for pretty much half a lap now. Still side by side, still inside line there. If we can try and squeeze out Matsushita, then once again it's going to be Nobby with the DRS. Actually, no, Kvyat gets the DRS, so he was just behind the detection one. Actually, that might have been the world he plays it, but now Matsushita's going to be slow because now we got DRS to try and pull up this line of Matsushita, so goes from making an overtake to trying to be the one overtaking, but he just goes super late on the brakes. There was no way I could get that late. I was going to be creaming straight to the gravel trap, but Matsushita then just found a way to make it work. Must have stuck all the brake bites to the front there to get that car stopped. But we're all still right up behind the back of Matsushita. Of course, the more they battle, the more it's going to allow Kvyat to pull away, and the more that's going to allow Mick Schumacher and Jean-Eric Vergne behind to potentially close in on this battle. The power blocker there, we lose a little bit of time in the dirty air to the car in front, but now Matsushita once again with the DRS now on the back of Daniel Kvyat. Can try and make a move back on the Russian grid. Somebody got so much straight line speed there. Kvyat goes defensive to the inside line. Matsushita forced to go to the outside line once again, like it was on the previous lap. He's still keeping his side by side on the inside line, but once again it's going to be Kvyat there with the racing line with the best speed out of the corner. But now can Matsushita do what he could do last time? He does, he swings it around, and now we get a good run as well on Kvyat somehow. Much for finding the convoy. I don't know if he missed a gear or something. Maybe got some kind of car issue. We're trying to make a move on Kvyat, trying to look for a dive. Matsushita go for a massive dive, taking the lead off his bug. He's going to be catching that. Matsushita takes a massively wide line. We basically scared him out of the corner. So we did to him what he did to us at Ascari on the previous lap. So basically, I mean, it's a different corner, but we just used his own move against him. Looking onto Sergio Perez here in the Aston Martin. He's got one of the Williams cars up there of Latifi right up behind the back of him. And they're going to be getting now in the Sochi, of course, no DRS down this back straight. Though that would be pretty interesting if you had DRS back here and then coming into parabolic. There's no run off there, so if it fails, you end up flying off into the corner. So pretty much for safety reasons there why we don't have it. And then we've got engine failure though for Latifi. Things are going so well. The human highlight route having such a good race. And then two of the other Honda power cars just managed to sneak their way through. But Latifi was going so well for him. I'm actually really gutted there for the Canadian. He's having such a good season so far. He's definitely got the measure of Mick Schumacher so far in this first part of the season. But this race is proving a little bit too much there for the Honda engine. It goes bang, and he's out of the race. And now then, on to lap 19. We're still in P4 ahead of Matsushita. Just managing to keep the gap to him, but nobody is making us push like crazy. That's why it's a such faster car than what we are. We're just having to give it absolutely everything now to try and keep it with him. Now Matsushita with the slipstream and the DRS going to pull side by side with us now, and he pulls it. That's an easy move there for Matsushita. Pulls clean ahead of us now on the run down into turn 1 as the sun's now starting to come out. So the hotter temperatures, how's that going to play into things? So I prefer hotter temperatures. Now the sun's starting to come out, so that could play into our favour. Now they've got Hulkenberg there in P3. You know, our teammate came out just up the road from us. So still, the fight for second place is still on here between all of us as Hamilton's just checked out in front. So the fight for second place got a K-Mag and the Hulkenberg. We have to cut the corner. We just couldn't quite get the car stopped, but of course we have to back out. I didn't make a move. But on to lap 23, we put up the fastest first set of races. Matsushita put up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. That's why he's got the border, the purple border around his name. And this is a bit of a plan for us now. We can use Matsushita here to basically just to pull us along to catch up to Hulkenberg and K-Mag up in front, because there's no doubt that Matsushita has a faster car. But we can just keep it in a straight line, we're keeping the slow stream using a bit of our Rich Mix. We've still got 1.6 laps. We're basically running Rich Mix to the end of the race now. We use everything these tyres have to give us, because we're going to finish in P5 minimum, so why not try and go for extra points here? Especially with Hamilton leading the race, we need every single point that we can get. Now they're in the DRS on the back of Matsushita. We're going to pull up the inside line here using the slow stream to our advantage into parabolic, and now go side by side, make him a dive. We do dive on the inside line. Matsushita completely gets out of the corner. He knows he's going to have the DRS now to come back and just now down the start finish straight. But now then, going to be the run now onto South I mentioned the crowd will be going wild for this. I mean, I'm sure they prefer to be Ferrari, but we're a Ferrari powered car at least. Now they've got Matsushita with the DRS. It's going to breeze straight back past us again. If we can keep slipstreaming each other like this, we're finding to go on. There's no way we can try and keep his stick there with the inside line. He fight there with Matsushita because now the fight is on. Now try and make the move stay past. We've been following for a few laps. Now this is the time to strike. Use up all the engine we got left. Because this is because we get the 8 engines throughout the season. This is the last time we have to use this engine as well. So I'm going to use all the life it has left. Seeing the Honda engine though go a little bit bang in the back of Latifi's car. So I hope that doesn't happen for us as well. Because I imagine the engine usually is going to be similar. But now they're on to lap 26. On 27 we've got 2 laps of this race left to go with this one lap that we're on. And this is the fight now for the final podium spot. But our tyres are a little bit fake. Matsushita he's been pushing us out the entire race so far. Since he's been behind us basically this entire stint. We're following him for a little bit now, using up all the rich we have left. We've got 0.6 of a lap left, so we're still finding time though through sector 1. Still pushing to the absolute limits of this car. And of course, now with Hulkenberg having to go defensive from us, thinking about us, you can't really put an attack on K-Mag. So much as we're trying to fight for the podium here, we're also doing our teammate Kevin Magnussen a favour there in P2. And Hamilton, he's just gone. You can't even see him there on the mini map. He's that far in front of us. And now we've got Matsushita though, gaining Oliver's back and showing where to go a little bit defensive there to the Japanese driver behind him. We've just got enough straight on speed to keep him behind us now. He's still got 0.5. We're still finding time there. It was like a bit of a friendly corner because we locked the rears there under braking. We just we basically just turned us into the corner way too early, so I have to back off a little bit to redress that time that we gained. So we still got Matsushita all over the back of us coming down into Parabolica. He's not quite close enough though to make a move on the back of us. We've got just over a lap of the race left to go. And really at this point now it's going to be our changes have to turn to defending from Matsushita more than to attacking Hulkenberg. We're going to have the DRS though, but I don't think it's going to quite be enough. We've got the DRS wide open though, we're still gaining on the back of the random in front, but we've got Matsushita still though gaining even more though into the braking zone, still not close enough though to make a move into turn 1. I think we get our tyres are finished. We run out a little bit wide though, go to the grass, and we're going to spin. I mean, at the side of Matsushita, our tyres are finished, and we saw we've hit Matsushita, we saw it there, the last time my rear tyres were done. We saw them locking them into Ascari, and that's a mistake on my part. I'll hold my hands up there. And we've got Verne up behind us now in the runner. How far behind us though is Jean-Eric Verne? Is going to be the next question. You see, my rear tyres are done. It's just skating through all these corners. I mean, I've got no front wing anyway, so that's not going to help. But my rear tyre is absolutely finished. I mean, I've had my brake bias as far forward as I can set it, trying to protect the rear tyres, but now there's nothing here really that I can do. Now it's going to be a fight though for the podium. Still, we've got K-Mag in the fight still for second place. But up front though, Lewis Hamilton has had it easy all race. Led into turn 1, led from lap 1, led every single lap of the race. But he's not going to get the fastest lap though. I think that might still go to us. But now then, round the final corner, round Parabolica for the final time and coming up to the finish line. It's going to be Lewis Hamilton now to win the Italian Grand Prix in dominant fashion. Probably one of the easiest wins the 2008 champions ever had. We're still coming up to 5 for line. We've got K-Mag still holding on. Hulkenberg is putting a mega final out, coming up to the line. And Hulkenberg just can't quite get it. Magnussen holds on to Peter. He gets a podium at the home race for Alfa Romeo. And we saw Hulkenberg just in third. Matsushita in fourth, and we managed to drag our car across the line with absolutely no rear tyres. We finished though in P5. I mean, still some good points. I mean, we're going to be fifth at Lowe's anyway, with how far behind Verne was. Had to go for it, but the tyres just couldn't hold on. If that was a 26 lap race, I'd have got it right, but just couldn't quite get it there to the end. Gunther though looking very happy once again. Another victory for the Toyota Haas outfit. Another victory for Lewis Hamilton this season, getting himself back on track after a few dud races at France and Monaco, and getting himself firmly back into the fight. Taking a look at the end results, and the top 4 finish where they started, as Hamilton takes an easy win, 12.5 seconds clear of Kevin Magnussen, who only holds off Hulkenberg by 100th of a second, not even that, just to hold on to second place. Matsushita finishes in P4, with Estelle dragging our Alfa Romeo over the line. In P5 we had such a gap though to Jean-Eric Verne behind that we could just limp it home. We got Mick Schumacher in 7th place, that's the lead Williams, the only finishing Williams and the lead Honda powered car. Ahead then of Daniel Kvyat, who down in 8th, but still a good showing from the Merc. We've got Charles Leclerc, lead Ferrari, only in 9th place, with Russell 10th in the second of the Mercedes. Sebastian Vettel down in 11th, and Verstappen just sneaks a point for Red Bull, coming home in 12th. So now then, moving on to the drivers' point standings, and Hamilton extends his championship lead. Now he's now got a 46-point lead over both his teammate Matsushita, and Hulkenberg gets back up now into P3. They're only 5 points behind, they're 197. Jean-Eric Verne in a bit of a no man's land there in 5th place. Means he's 19 points behind us, but then he's also 18 points, 28 points clear of Daniel Kvyat in 6th. Came back there with his 2nd place, goes up now into 7th place, 1 point behind the Russian. With Mick Schumacher up now into P8. Vettel, though, his fellow German drops down into 9th place, 2 points behind. He's also 2 points then ahead of Max Verstappen. We've got Latifi down now into 11th place, finally dropping behind his teammate. Having been ahead of them for 8 races, it's been a great start to Latifi's debut season. And we've got Alex Albon in 12th on 30 points in the second of the Red Bulls. And now looking on to the constructor standings, and Toyota once again extend their lead on 250 points, now 70 points clear after only 8 races of Renault. Once again increased their gap a little bit over Alfa Romeo. They're in 3rd, and it really is just 3 of the breakaway. You've got Mercedes there still holding on just about to P4, ahead of Williams by only 3 points now. And a further 5 points back with Aston Martin now on 65, who then are only 6 points clear of Ferrari. So once again the midfield fight once again looking closer and closer with each passing race. And you've got McLaren and Aston Martin not too far through on 43 points to 38. AlphaTauri though still bringing up the rear on 23 points. Remember to vote for your driver of the day with the polling that'll be in the description, along with the wiki for the season as well, which will be linked down there. The wiki for it's updated after every single race. You got a look back at past seasons, every team, every driver to ever been in the series since it started back with the 2014 season. So I'd appreciate it if you could go give that a read. And also, most of all, to leave a like if you enjoyed this race, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my future uploads. If you give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter, they'll be linked in the description down below as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time.